Only 7 people backstage knew who he was. The reigning karate world champion didn't. The 300 spectators filling Madison Square Garden didn't. The judges, the referees, the tournament officials, none of them recognized the small Chinese man standing quietly near the curtain. That was about to change. In the next 4 minutes, the most dominant karate champion in American history would hear 6 words whispered so close to his ear that only he could hear them. Words that would haunt him for decades. Words he would repeat in every interview, every autobiography, every private conversation for the rest of his life. Words he never recovered from. This is what really happened in the fall of 1968. This is the story Chuck Norris has been telling ever since. New York City, Madison Square Garden, November 1968. Saturday evening, 7:15 p.m. The All-American Karate Open Championships are reaching their climax. This is the most prestigious karate tournament on the East Coast. Competitors from 9 countries, 15 different styles. Shotokan, Tang Soo Do, Goju Ryu, Kenpo, Taekwondo, Kyokushin. Every serious fighting system in the Western world is represented. 300 spectators pack the arena. Martial artists, instructors, military veterans, students, families. Everyone who matters in American karate is in this building tonight. The atmosphere is electric. The sharp crack of focused strikes echoes off the walls. Judges bark scores. The smell of sweat and tiger balm hangs thick in the air. This is the proving ground of American martial arts, and the man everyone has come to see is about to take the stage. His name is Chuck Norris, Carlos Ray Norris, born March 10, 1940 in Ryan, Oklahoma. The eldest of 3 boys raised by a single mother after his alcoholic father abandoned the family. A shy kid, a quiet kid, a C-average student who daydreamed about being strong enough to stand up to the bullies who tormented him every day at school. That kid is gone now. In his place stands something entirely different. Chuck Norris is 28 years old, 5 feet 9 inches tall, 165 pounds of coiled, disciplined muscle, every ounce of it earned through a decade of obsessive training. He discovered martial arts in 1958 while stationed at Osan Air Base in South Korea with the United States Air Force. Judo first, then Tang Soo Do, then everything else he could get his hands on. When he returned to America, he didn't just practice, he consumed martial arts. He opened his first karate studio while waiting on a police application in Torrance, California. Then a second studio, then a third. By 1968, he owns over 30 karate schools across the country. His students include Steve McQueen, the biggest movie star in America, Bob Barker, Priscilla Presley, the Osmond brothers. He doesn't just teach celebrities, he teaches warriors. But teaching isn't what made Chuck Norris famous in the martial arts world. Fighting did. His competition record is staggering. He lost his first 2 tournaments, dropped decisions to Joe Louis and Alan Steen, got beaten in 3 rounds at the International Karate Championships by Tony Tulliners. Most fighters would have quit. Norris got angry. Then he got better. By 1966, he was nearly unbeatable. In 1967, he won the All-American Karate Championship at Madison Square Garden, defeating 7 opponents, including Skipper Mullins, in the final. That same year, he won the International Karate Championship. In 1968, he avenged his only remaining loss, defeating Louis Delgado on November 24th to claim the World Professional Middleweight Karate Championship, a title he would hold for 6 consecutive years. His competition record stands at 65 wins and only 10 losses. His last loss was to Delgado in early 1968. After that, he never lost again. His fighting style is devastating. Tang Soo Do base with elements of Shotokan, Goju Ryu, and Judo woven into his approach. He doesn't just practice one system. He absorbs from every system he encounters. His signature technique is the spinning back kick, Dwi Horigi in Korean, a technique that generates enough rotational force to crack ribs through a chest protector. When Norris throws it in competition, the rotation begins in his hips before his shoulders turn. The leg whips around like a baseball bat swung at full extension. Fighters who have taken the kick describe the impact as being hit by a car door. His roundhouse kick, dolyo chagi, is considered the fastest in competitive karate. He throws it from angles his opponents don't expect, with timing they can't predict. His front leg side kick, yop chagi, covers distance faster than most fighters can retreat. He uses it as a range finder, a disruption tool, and a fight ender depending on the situation. Opponents describe fighting Chuck Norris as fighting a man who already knows what you're going to do before you do it. His distance control is surgical. His feints make opponents flinch at attacks that never come, opening them up for the real strike that arrives a half-second later. He's been named Fighter of the Year by Black Belt magazine. He's the first person ever voted into the Black Belt Hall of Fame. His tournament victories span nearly every state championship in America. In 1969, he would receive karate's Triple Crown for having the most tournament wins of any competitor that year. He is, by every measurable standard, the most dominant karate champion in the United States, and he carries himself accordingly. Not arrogantly. That's not Norris. He's quiet, reserved, professional, but confident. Absolutely, unshakably confident. He has earned the right to believe that no one in American martial arts can touch him. And tonight at Madison Square Garden, no one disputes it. But tonight is not just about competition. Between the tournament rounds, the organizers have arranged a special demonstration, a martial arts exhibition from a guest performer, someone from outside the karate world. The announcer approaches the microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, between our championship rounds, we have a special guest, a martial arts instructor from Los Angeles. Some of you may recognize him from his role as Kato on the television program The Green Hornet. Please welcome Bruce Lee. Polite applause. Scattered. Modest. Most of the audience doesn't watch The Green Hornet. They're karate people. They follow karate tournaments. They know karate champions. Bruce Lee is not a karate champion. He's a TV actor who does kung fu, Chinese martial arts, flowery forms and fancy kicks. That's what most of the audience thinks. That's what most of the karate world believes in 1968. Kung fu is for movies. Karate is for fighting. The distinction feels obvious to everyone in this building. Backstage, Chuck Norris is warming up for his next match. He hears the announcement. Bruce Lee. He's heard the name, seen a few episodes of The Green Hornet. Thought the fight scenes were interesting. Different from karate. Faster, somehow. More fluid. But he hasn't given it much thought. He's focused on his tournament, on his title, on winning. Bruce Lee walks onto the demonstration floor. He's wearing simple dark clothes. No gi, no belt, no patches indicating rank or style. He's 28 years old, same as Norris. 5 feet 7.5 inches tall, 135 pounds. Lean, defined, but small by any fighting standard. He looks like what the audience expects. A television performer. An actor playing a martial artist. Not the real thing. Not like the champions in this building. Bruce begins his demonstration. He explains Wing Chun principles, centerline theory, Lin Sil Di Dar, simultaneous block and strike. He demonstrates Chi Sao, sticking hands, the sensitivity drill that develops reflexes faster than any kata. He shows his 1-inch punch, positions his fist 1 inch from a volunteer's chest. No wind-up, no hip rotation visible to the naked eye. The volunteer staggers backward 6 feet and falls into a chair placed behind him. The audience stirs. That's unusual. That's not something they've seen in karate. Then Bruce demonstrates speed. He asks a volunteer to hold a pad at chest height. He throws a straight lead punch, Jik Chung Chui, his signature strike. The punch is so fast the audience hears the impact before they see the movement. He does it again and again. Each time the volunteer is rocked backward. The pad barely absorbs the force. The speed is otherworldly. Several karate practitioners in the audience shift in their seats. They throw fast punches. They train fast punches. What Bruce Lee is demonstrating is a different category of speed entirely. Backstage, Chuck Norris has stopped warming up. He's watching through the curtain. His training partner notices. "You okay?" Norris doesn't answer. He's studying Bruce Lee's movement the way a scientist studies something that shouldn't exist. The speed, the economy, no wasted motion, no telegraph, no chamber. Every karate technique Norris has ever learned begins with a preparation, a wind-up, a chamber that loads the strike. Bruce Lee's techniques begin and end in the same moment. There is no gap between intention and execution. Norris has been fighting the best karate practitioners in the world for 6 years. He has never seen anyone move like this. Bruce finishes his demonstration. The applause is louder now, warmer, still confused but respectful. People aren't sure what they just saw, but they know it was something. Bruce bows and walks off stage, directly toward the backstage area, directly toward Chuck Norris. Their eyes meet. Bruce extends his hand. "That was impressive out there," Norris says. Bruce studies him, the way he studies everyone, reading stance, posture, weight distribution, tension points. "You're Norris, the champion." Chuck nods. "I enjoyed watching you compete earlier. Very clean technique, very powerful kicks." They shake hands. And then something happens that neither man planned. They start talking about martial arts, about philosophy, about fighting, about what works and what doesn't, about the difference between tournament karate and real combat, about the limitations of classical styles and the possibilities beyond them. The conversation doesn't stop. The tournament continues around them. Norris misses his warm-up window. He doesn't care. They talk through the next round, through the break, through the awards presentation. When the event ends, they realize they're staying at the same hotel. They share a cab. The conversation continues in the elevator, on the hallway floor, inside Bruce's hotel room. They're exchanging techniques now, not just talking, showing. Bruce demonstrates Wing Chun trapping, Pak Sao, slapping deflection, Lop Sao, pulling hand, Bong Sao, wing arm block. He shows how trapping range exists between kicking range and grappling range, a distance karate doesn't address, a space where Wing Chun dominates. Norris demonstrates his spinning back kick, the mechanics of rotational power, how the hip generates torque before the leg extends. Bruce watches with the intensity of a man memorizing a language. He asks Norris to throw it again, slower, then again at full speed. He asks about the high roundhouse kick. Norris shows him, explains the angle, the chamber, the snap. Bruce tries it. His first attempt is rough. His second is cleaner. By the 5th attempt, Norris realizes Bruce Lee learns techniques faster than any human being he has ever trained. They don't sleep that night. At 4 a.m., they're still on the hotel room floor, demonstrating, discussing, debating. Norris has to catch a 9 a.m. flight. He barely makes it. But something has shifted, something fundamental. The most dominant karate champion in America has just met someone who moves in ways he didn't know were possible, and he can't stop thinking about it. Over the next 2 years, they train together. Whenever Bruce is in Los Angeles, he invites Norris to his backyard. They spar, they exchange, they teach each other. Norris teaches Bruce the high kick, the technique Bruce had always dismissed. Bruce believed a martial artist should never kick above the waist. Norris disagreed. "You should be able to kick anywhere," he told Bruce. "If an opponent leaves his head open, you need to take advantage of that." Bruce listened. Within 6 months, Bruce's high kicks were as good as Norris's own. That's how fast Bruce Lee learned. 6 months to match a world champion's signature technique. But it's the sparring sessions that change Norris, not the technique exchanges, not the philosophical discussions. The sparring. Every time they spar, Norris experiences the same thing. He can't touch Bruce Lee. His tournament combinations, his championship techniques, his spinning back kicks, his roundhouse kicks, everything that makes him the most feared competitor in American karate, none of it lands. Bruce is too fast, too adaptive, too unpredictable. He doesn't fight like a karate man or a kung fu man or a boxer or a wrestler. He fights like water. He fills whatever space Norris leaves open. He flows around whatever Norris throws. Norris tries his spinning back kick, Dui Horigi, the technique that has dropped every opponent he's ever faced. The rotation begins. His hips turn. His shoulders follow. The kick launches with enough force to break a wooden board from 3 feet away. Bruce reads the rotation before Norris completes the turn. He sees the hip shift, the weight transfer, the telegraph that every spinning technique carries. Steps offline 4 inches to the left. The kick passes through empty air. Norris feels it. The absence of contact. The emptiness where a target should be. Before he can recover his stance, before he can plant his foot and reset, Bruce's straight lead is positioned 2 inches from his throat. Jik Chung Chui, the fastest punch in martial arts. Pulled, stopped, controlled. The message delivered without words. That could have landed. That should have landed. If Bruce had wanted it to, Norris would be on the ground. The backyard is quiet. A bird calls from the fence. The Los Angeles traffic hums in the distance. 2 men stand 4 feet apart. One is the world champion. One is a 135-pound actor from Hong Kong. And the world champion is beginning to understand something that will take him years to fully process. Norris resets, tries a different combination. Dolio Chagi, roundhouse kick to the midsection, followed immediately by a reverse punch, Bandai Jiryugi, to the head. Tournament-winning combination. The combination that has ended 15 professional fights. The kick arrives clean, fast, powerful, everything a championship kick should be. But Bruce has already moved, not backward. That's what a karate fighter would do. Backward is predictable. Bruce moves sideways and forward, into the space between the kick and the punch, into the gap that classical karate doesn't address. He's inside Norris's range now, too close for kicks, too close for long punches. Wing Chun range. His hands are on Norris's arms. Pak Sao. The slapping deflection redirects Norris's punch offline by 6 inches. Just enough. Bruce's other hand rises. Liu Ji, thrusting fingers aimed at Norris's eyes, stopped 1 inch away, held there for 2 seconds, long enough for Norris to see it, long enough for the lesson to land, long enough to understand that in a real fight, that technique ends everything. Norris steps back, breathing hard, not from exertion, from recognition. He has just felt something he's never felt in 6 years of professional competition. He has felt what it's like to fight someone who operates on a completely different level. Not better technique, not more power. A different understanding of what fighting actually is. Bruce Lee doesn't fight styles. He fights the person. He reads intention. He exploits hesitation. He fills gaps that Norris didn't know existed in his own system. And then it happens. The moment Chuck Norris would describe for the rest of his life. The moment he never recovered from. They're standing close, catching their breath. The Los Angeles sun is setting behind Bruce's house. The backyard is quiet. Bruce steps in. Close. Closer than fighting range. Closer than conversation range. He leans in and whispers 6 words directly into Chuck Norris's ear. "You are fighting a dead man." Norris freezes. Bruce steps back, smiles, not arrogantly, warmly, like a teacher who has just delivered the most important lesson he knows. "I don't mean me," Bruce says. "I mean your opponent. By the time you see the attack, the fight is already over. You're fighting the version of me that was standing there a moment ago. But I'm not there anymore. I've already moved. I've already changed. You're fighting a ghost. And a ghost can't hurt you, but you can't hurt a ghost either. You have to fight what is, not what was. That is the secret. Chuck Norris stands in Bruce Lee's backyard. The world champion, 65 wins, 6 consecutive middleweight titles, the most decorated karate competitor of his generation. And he understands for the first time that everything he knows about fighting is incomplete. Not wrong, incomplete. There's another level, a level beyond technique, beyond style, beyond system, a level where fighting becomes philosophy, where combat becomes art, where the body moves before the mind decides. He asked me once who would win if we really fought, Norris would later say in interviews. I told him, that's a question I never want to answer, because the truth is, I'm not sure I'd like the answer. Norris continued competing. He defended his world championship. He won every major title in American karate through 1974. His record remained untouched, his dominance unchallenged. But something had changed in the way he moved, the way he thought, the way he fought. His style became more fluid, less rigid. He began incorporating trapping techniques into his karate. He started experimenting with angles his classical training never addressed. His competitors noticed. The same champion, but different, more unpredictable, more dangerous. In 1972, Bruce Lee called Chuck Norris with an offer. He was making a film called Way of the Dragon. He wanted Norris to play his opponent. The final boss. The ultimate challenge. The fight scene would take place in the Roman Colosseum in Rome. Norris hesitated. He was a fighter, not an actor. But Bruce convinced him. The scene they choreographed together is now considered one of the greatest fight scenes in the history of cinema. Nearly 10 minutes of combat. Real contact on many of the strikes. 2 masters showing the world what they had shown each other in that Los Angeles backyard. The film became the highest-grossing movie in Hong Kong history at the time. On July 20, 1973, Bruce Lee died. He was 32 years old. The cause was a cerebral edema. The world lost something irreplaceable that day. Chuck Norris lost something personal. A training partner, a teacher, a friend. A man who had whispered 6 words that changed the way Norris understood everything. You are fighting a dead man. After Bruce's death, Norris retired from competition. He turned to acting, encouraged by his student Steve McQueen. He became one of the biggest action stars in Hollywood history. Missing in Action, Code of Silence, The Delta Force, Walker, Texas Ranger. 8 years on CBS, films that collectively grossed over $500 million worldwide. He became an American icon, a cultural legend, the subject of 1,000 internet memes about his invincibility. But in every interview, in every autobiography, in every private conversation with students and friends and fellow martial artists, Chuck Norris told the same story. The story of the night at Madison Square Garden, the 2 years of backyard training, the sparring sessions he could never quite win, and the whisper, always the whisper. Bruce Lee was the best martial artist I ever saw, Norris would say, decades later. His speed was beyond anything I'd experienced. When we sparred, I could never quite figure him out. Every time I thought I had a read on him, he changed. He adapted. He became something else. I was fighting a ghost, just like he told me. I was always fighting the version of Bruce that was already gone. In interviews, reporters would ask the obvious question, the question everyone wanted answered. Who would win in a real fight, Chuck Norris or Bruce Lee? Norris would smile, shake his head, deflect. I don't want to answer that, he would say. And then, more quietly, because I'm not sure I would like the answer. That's what 6 whispered words did to the most dominant karate champion of his generation. Not broke his confidence, expanded it, showed him where the edges were, showed him what existed beyond those edges. Bruce Lee didn't defeat Chuck Norris. He opened a door that Norris didn't know existed, and Norris walked through it and never came back. The 7 people backstage who knew Bruce Lee in 1968 told everyone what they witnessed that night. Word spread. The karate community talked, debated. Some dismissed it. An actor doing tricks, a television stuntman showing off. But Chuck Norris never dismissed it. He carried those 6 words with him through 65 tournament victories, through 6 world titles, through a 50-year career in martial arts and entertainment, through everything. He founded his own martial art, Chun Kuk Do, the Universal Way. It blends Tang Soo Do, karate, judo, Brazilian jiu-jitsu. It takes techniques from everywhere. It has no limitation as limitation. Bruce Lee's philosophy, built into a system by the man Bruce Lee whispered to. 300 spectators at Madison Square Garden that night. 7 who knew who Bruce Lee was before the demonstration. 1 world champion who watched from behind a curtain and recognized what he was seeing. And 1 small man in dark clothes who changed the champion's understanding of martial arts with a demonstration, 2 years of backyard sparring, and 6 whispered words. Chuck Norris became a legend. Bruce Lee became immortal. But between them, in that quiet backyard in Los Angeles, something happened that transcended competition and fame and legacy. 2 men from different worlds, different styles, different philosophies met. They trained, they exchanged, they challenged each other. And in that exchange, both became something greater than they were alone. Chuck Norris never recovered from those 6 words. He didn't need to. Those words didn't break him. They built him. They showed him that the greatest opponent is not the man standing in front of you. It's the version of yourself that refuses to grow beyond what you already know. Bruce Lee taught Chuck Norris that being the best in your system isn't the same as being the best, and that the only fight you truly lose is the one where you stop learning. 300 witnesses, 7 who knew, 1 champion who listened, and 1 master who whispered the truth. November 1968, Madison Square Garden. The night Chuck Norris met the man he could never forget. The night 6 words changed everything. The night Bruce Lee stepped out of a television screen and into the real world. And the world of martial arts was never the same.